It's empty. It's empty.
You know what?
Like my heart.
Just look at it for a second. Don't say anything. Just look at it. You know what? That whole 30 seconds, I don't think it was that long, but that 15 seconds of silence, right? Maybe you have seen some of our previous podcasts, so you know a little bit about us. But if you didn't know anything about us, what could you see or what could you think about us just from us sitting here, not saying a word, and staring at you? From the exercise clothes that we have on, from the size of our muscles, who knows, you know, where we're folding our arms, where we're leaning back, where we're postured, our gaze, you know. There's certain things that you don't have to say. Certain times, your character does all the talking for you. Your reputation precedes itself. You may have to be in the room. Somebody might talk about you. It's like, oh shit, wow, that guy sounds like, ooh, man, you're a great guy, you know? Or somebody says your name, it's like, oh shit, yeah, I heard of him. That guy's different. He's up there every day working. He's up there in the office every day working. He's up there at the gym every day working. Reputation precedes you. And when you come into the place, you may not have to say anything. You may not have to talk to everybody. You walk around, and people know what type of guy you are, good or bad. As soon as you walk in a room, you know why? Because more often than not, it's not always about what comes out of here that affects how people see you or view you or treat you. Sometimes the way you carry yourself, your character, your inner core character, is what sets the tone. And Jose has a lot of experiences, recent and not recent, where he's gone into a place and he's been given a certain level of respect, not because he was in here being mean, he was in there punching people, beating people. No, he wasn't doing any of that. Being respectful, coming in after a workout, and commanded the room, commanded attention from everybody. Who's this guy? You know why? Because it's the character. It's exuding from this person, from a person. There's certain times where somebody can walk in the room and you're just like, wow, I wonder what that guy does. I wonder what they do. I wonder who they are. They might not even have all the bells and whistles on, but the character is speaking for them. It's loud. So that, my friends, is what we're talking about today in this long ass intro that I just did.
Now, if I was going to title this episode, it would have been Charismatic Character. But Austin was in charge of titling this episode. So y'all gotta, what is it? Let your character speak for itself. Type introduction. You're welcome. It's a lot more understandable instead of me. But the reason why I say charismatic character is very simple. The reason I say that is because your character is literally your charisma. It's the way you carry yourself. It's the way you behave. It's the way you talk. It's the way you walk. It's the muscles or the lack thereof that you have. It's the eloquence by which you speak. It's the eye contact. It's the subtle body language. Your character is not just your actions. Your character is who you are. And there's a quote from Marcus Aurelius that I cannot exactly remember, but essentially he talks about how of all the virtues, character is the most important, because at the end of the day, strip everything away and character is what's left. That's your core. That's essentially your logo. So how do you exist? And there are a lot of situations that I could talk to y'all about, but one of the most important things that I take and that we take personally is being leaders. And there are many circumstances and situations in which we have been done wrong, and by which wrong has been done on us. And the way you respond in every situation, good or bad, is an indicator of your character. And as leaders, we place even more importance on our responses to these circumstances and situations. And so, piggybacking off of our podcast, I think it was 2 or 3 episodes ago, where we talked about how hate breeds more hate and discontent, and love breeds love. If somebody comes at you and does something wrong, or they wrong you, as a leader,
You beat them the fuck out.
depending on obviously you need to have a degree of, okay, do I play this hard? Do I play this soft? How exactly do I approach this? But a lot of times, you just stand there and you approach it with love. I like to say, my actions in the end were with poise, elegance, and grace. There's not a single thing that you can say in the interactions that we have with at least 99% of the people that are not handled with poise, elegance, and grace, even if people do wrong onto us. And that is a testament to your character as a human. That is a testament to our character as men. That is a testament to our character as leaders. Because when somebody looks you dead in the eyes and hurts you, or wants your demise, and you just smile, and you're like, hey, that's cool. No hard feelings. You're gonna do what you wanna do, and we're gonna do what we wanna do. That's an example of character, instead of being like, hey, listen, bitch, this is what's gonna happen. Or just, like Austin said, beat the shit out of somebody. It's the little things, but it's also how we talked about. There was a quote from Robert Greene from the 33 Strategies of War when we were podcasting at that undefined location where the gentleman came at the end of the episode and he was like, not bad. Look at that recollection, guys. Where we talked about in Robert Greene's 33 Strategies of War, he said, the art of ending a battle is setting yourself up for success for the next one. It's the same thing. And Robert Greene also makes the argument that your best ally is your old enemy, because they have something to prove. So, and PBD is a good example of this. Pat Bet David, where when he was starting his insurance agency, one of his competitors came to his office and told him he was going to fail. And he was like, you are so selfish, you're going to fail, you're going to have people starving, you're going to ruin these people's lives because you can't pay them because you won't succeed. And then I think it was 13 years later, the guy came back asking for a job because PBD was so successful that he ran them out of business. And now he hired the guy, and the guy is one of the best workers he has. And so, in other words, the way PBD handled the situation, he didn't yell. He was like, okay, cool, thank you for your opinion. Get out of my office. The way he handled that set him up for success. He has one of the best guys on his team because he handled that situation with poise, elegance, and grace, and he displayed his character. His character wasn't, I fight fire with fire. Because oftentimes, what you think is fighting fire with fire is just it's an indicator of your inability to control and understand your emotions. It's just like, it's like a childlike tantrum where you're just blowing up. It's not, oh, I'm so aggressive. No, it's you're literally living through your id because you're an idiot. That was cheeky.
What it means?
Id, ego, super ego. Id is the animal, ego is like the semi-smart animal, and super ego is the one that regulates everything. Super ego is like, I'm naked. I shouldn't be naked.
Yeah.
And id is like, fuck, eat, sleep, repeat.
And the other one.
Ego, that was kind of complicated.
Yeah. Anyway.
Ego's like a dog. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But it's okay.
Yeah, like little fuck dog over here. Anyway.
Such an endearing term.
Yeah. He's been trying to fuck everything, so he's a little fucked up. So
That's a crazy statement.
yeah. But anyway, so my biggest thing that I've learned is that more often than not, the person in the room who is not talking as much or as loud most of the times has much more of a life experience and much more character than the person who's trying to convince you that there's something, you know. And the ones who talk the most lack that character, so they have to talk a lot to back it up most of the time. Mm-hmm. And the people who don't say as much are the ones who let their character speak for themselves. They may be a man of few words. However, the words that they say, the few words that they say hold weight. So, it's that character that is speaking for them. You may not have to say that much to convey a point or to get your point across to people. And that's the thing that most people don't know. You can say, how about this? There is one book that I read, or it was either book or podcast, one of the two, where they said, before you respond to anything, take about, what is it, like a 5-second break or something, 5 to 10-second break in between responding. Think about it, look at the person, and then respond with what your response is. That pretty much de-escalates the whole conversation. It throws off that person entirely, and now you're coming from a more, calculated, somber, not as upset. If you are in a heated discussion, you're coming from a much more relaxed and calculated place of mind compared to if you just blurt out some bullshit. So, I say that to say, not saying that much, or speaking slowly, or thinking a little bit when it comes to conversation, or not saying too much at all, that shows a lot of character, because it shows that you're confident in the things that you say. You don't have to say too much, and you're not quick to be manipulated by your emotions, like most people are.
Yeah. So
if you're able to control your emotions and control how you use them, in my opinion, that goes to show a lot about your character, because most people can't do that. If you're having a conversation with somebody, like Pep and David was, if somebody says that you suck at anything, more often than not, the person can come back and say, I don't suck, you suck. Who the fuck are you? However,
do you know who I am?
Exactly. However,
I don't know who you are.
By blurting that shit out, you just what'd you say? You let your shadow.
Your id.
No. You say fucking shadow.
I didn't say it this time, but it is your shadow.
Yeah.
It is your shadow.
So basically, you're letting your true inner self, like the scared little boy that got beat up in fucking 3rd grade or some shit that nobody knew about.
Once.
That acts how he acts because of that situation.
Yeah.
You just let that bleed out.
Yeah.
You let that piece of your undeveloped character bleed out without you fucking knowing it, because you were quick to speak and quick to react based off of your emotions. However, if you're slow to respond as far as dealing with conflict and things of that nature, you're able to discern, okay, how should I respond to this person? Is it conducive for me to respond to this person like this? No, okay, I'm going to respond in a much more calm way. That way, I show that you can't affect me. Your words, your emotions, whatever can affect how my emotions internally operate. And that shows a lot of character within you, because you have that resolve, you have that level of, you can't push me and make me do whatever the fuck you want me to do just because you're yelling at me or you're doing all this. That goes to show a lot. And that you may not even have to say a lot in that way, in that response to them, but because of how you acted, that goes to show that, this person stands out. And he didn't even have to say much. He chose a different route than what most people would normally choose because he has control over his emotions, he has control over his thoughts, and having control over all of those, in my opinion, what develops a person with great character and also going through life experiences. But those two as well develop great character because it lets you handle certain situations in life and handle yourself a lot better. Better. And when you do that out around people, people realize like, how he responded, I can respond. I could never be able to do that. I would respond like this. I would say, hey, you suck. I would never respond with kindness, blah, 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 blah. But that goes to show the lack of character that they have and that they have built up. That they're only willing to respond emotionally, that they're willing to respond as a child would. And you, on the other hand, are calm, cool, collected. It goes to show a lot, and you don't even have to say much.
You know, Abraham Lincoln would actually write a letter and then shove it in his drawer every time he would get pissed off. So there's accounts of letters of Abraham Lincoln that he never sent that were very harshly and aggressively worded or intended. And that's essentially what you're saying from the reference where it's like, hey, take 5 seconds in a conversation and take a breath, let it out, come back to something sober. And that's something that if one of who is considered to be one of the most stoic presidents of American history, and also one of the greatest presidents of all time, during the Civil War was able to keep himself at bay mentally, and one of his strategies was writing things down before actually sending them, and if at all ever sending them, and then letting them marinate to see if it's even a good idea to go down that route. If that's not an indicator of what perhaps you should do when your shadow is bleeding out, when you have the intention of behaving emotionally, then I don't know what would be. And I think a very good thing that you touched on is if you have shitty character, you're not fucked for life, because character is something you can build. I actually like to think of character as, I think there's a lot of analogies that you could use for character, but I think if the best analogy I could use for character is essentially you're building a mountain and you stand on top of the mountain and the mountain itself is your character. So in order for you to behave in a manner that's responsive and aggressive and it's uncharacteristic, meaning that it's not a good way of displaying a good character. You're showing your shadow, you're being very, very dark, and you're being just a child, is an indicator that you haven't built a high mountain. And in order for you to actually get down to that level, is you have to come down to the mountain. You have to come to the level of a person who has no character if you're going to behave in such a negative way. But the point is you're already up here, but you have to come all the way down. But the problem is, once you come down, you also have to go all the way back up. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that character is something that you build over time. You can't necessarily lose it, but there are moments where you can fall down from it very easily. But the good thing is that if anybody wants to try and bring you down from where you're up, they have to get to your level, or they have to give you an enticing offer for you to come down. So it's something that you get to build throughout your lifetime. We like to say any negative thing that happens to us, any difficult situation, any challenging situation, whether it be with women, whether it be with work, whether it be in business, whether it be in the gym, whether it be while we're running, whether it be we're running 5 miles in 108 degrees in Austin, Texas, in the summer, in the middle of the sun, we always say it's a character building opportunity. Because either it breaks you or you come out stronger. And God knows we're not going to break. So
It either makes you or breaks you.
Yeah.
And whether it's the former or the latter is up to you.
And you will come out stronger every single time.
Every single time.
As long as you have the mindset of a victor, not a victim.
And based off of recent experiences that we've had, I'm not gonna say this works every single time, or I would say it does. It's just how people handle it is different. People will show you your character based off of, you don't have to ask necessarily. You can walk into a place and conduct yourself a certain way, and how people respond to you shows a lot about your character. It's like a mirror. You know, how you act in the mirror, you're gonna get a certain response back that should mirror that feedback that you gave or the action that you're doing towards the mirror. So if you give a person a certain type of, you know, if you're giving off a fuck you demeanor, more often than not, you're going to either intimidate people, make them run away from you, or people are going to be like, fuck you back, type of thing. But, you know, sometimes just based off of how you carry yourself and how, I hate to use it, but like the energy that you're exuding, you know, people will show you how your character makes them feel. And sometimes a good character intimidates people. You having a good character isn't always something that's just going to translate to greatness for you all the time. Because certain times, when you have a certain character, like going back to the mirror reference, your people are a mirror for you as far as your character, but also you are a mirror for others for their character. So if they see you acting a certain way and holding yourself up to a certain, you know, level of character, and how you carry yourself is, you know, higher than how they might carry themselves. How you dress yourself is how it's higher than what they do. Even if monetarily y'all are the same, you just choose to wear certain things differently, or you choose to talk a certain way, you choose to use certain words, you choose to do whatever. They see that. They see your character and say, I don't like that. He just, I just don't like it. And more often than not, it's not coming from a place of, oh, I don't like you as a person. It's more often not coming from a place of, I don't like me. And I know that I can't live up to the character that that person is presenting. It intimidates me. It scares me a little bit. Or it makes me feel like a bad person because I know that this person is very happy right now. Or this person is very confident right now. This person is very altruistic right now.
Or this person's just aggressive. I can't keep up with them.
Not aggressive in a bad way,
tenacious.
But yes. They're very tenacious and I can't keep up with them. So they see it as a, I don't know if I can be around that person. I don't know if I like that person. But truly, really and truly, they're saying that because deep within them, they know that they aren't there at that point yet. Their character isn't built to that level yet. So when you're out in the world and people treat you a certain way, and you know that you have developed a good character, and you know that you're doing the right things, more often than not, you're going to be met with, you know, goodness back, but there is going to be some time where you're going to be met with some people who are strangely not nice to you for some reason. You may not know why, but I'm telling you why, that when you get those responses from somebody, it's more likely that they're doing this because it's something within them, their character is intimidated by your character. So they run off and hide. They run away from the situation. Or they confront the situation with aggression because they're intimidated. Or they confront the situation with jokes and trying to make you feel lesser because they know that, oh, you're doing what? You're trying to better yourself. You're doing all this stuff while I'm out here jacking off and partying. Oh,
At the same time.
like, oh, hey man, you have fun with that. I'm gonna be over here having fun. Like, oh, you're doing that? That sounds so boring.
What do you mean you're running 5 businesses at the same time? I just want to enjoy my Sunday
Yeah,
brunch.
why are you doing that? That sounds so boring.
Why don't you just work a 9 to 5?
Yeah.
Get a nice salary, you know?
Again,
Fucking hell.
that's people's character bleeding out a little bit. You have to take that with a grain of salt and say, why are they saying that?
Well,
Are they saying that
yeah.
because there's something wrong with me, or are they saying that because it's truly something wrong with them and how they view things, and they know that they themselves can never do those things. So because they themselves feel like they can't do those things, they're going to try to make you feel lesser because you feel like you can do those things. You know? So having a good character and having a character that speaks for itself sometimes may not always rub people the right way. And sometimes having those responses is how you know that you're on the right track.
Yeah, that's very true. The negative reciprocal is always an indicator that the positive is on the uptrend. That's why they say an indicator of your success is the more people that hate you. The more haters you have, the higher likelihood that you have more success. To a level, though.
Yes. And one thing I want to leave you guys with, I know this will be the last thing I say, you can continue, but I'll leave you with this. Do not diminish and lessen your character just to fit in with other people or to make somebody else feel better or what have you. Fuck that. No. If you have a certain level of character, you know that you carry yourself a certain way, you know that you hold yourself to a higher standard, act that way. And let those people who can't stand it be over there. They can't stand it. They can't handle that. That's fine. They can be over there. And you're not going to make them feel bad for it. You're not going to rub it in their face. No. Let them be over there if that's what they want to be, if they can't handle it. You'll naturally attract people that are like-minded, like you, who hold yourself to that high standard as well. Down the road, you'll find those people. You know, just like there's certain things, like let's say a sun, right? The gravitational pull from the sun attracts and pulls things into it. That character that you have is a great energy, like the sun. A lot of energy. It can pull shit into it. It can bring people closer to you. However, it can also be something where people are like, man, that's fucking bright, man. That's too fucking bright. I'm not even going over there, man.
UV rays, they're bad for your skin.
Hey, man, I'm not looking at that. That's too bright. That's shining too bright. I can't even do all. It has that same effect too. So with great power comes a lot of shit. You can attract people. You can also repel people. People over there, they're scared. They don't want to see that shit. They don't want to see you. They don't want to see you shine. Let them stay over there doing this. The people that are like-minded, that want to be embraced in your character and like how you carry yourself, they'll come to you. Don't change how you handle shit and how you hold yourself to the standards that you hold yourself for others to make them feel better or to make you fit in. It's not worth it. Be you, hold that strong frame, and hold true to your character. In the long run, it'll pay off.
Capitulation is the enemy, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot change yourself to make other people feel comfortable nor to be accepted. Because the second you lower your standards to theirs, you no longer have standards.
Right.
And you devalue yourself to yourself. Your perception of you is lower. You no longer respect yourself. I think a perfect example is Kevin Samuel.
R.I.P. man.
R.I.P. the father Kevin Sam. If Kevin Sam would walk around how he would want to walk, drive what he wants to drive, and wear what he wants to wear, wherever he would go. And that's a perfect example. If he would walk into a Starbucks and he's wearing a suit that nobody could match because it has his style on it, because he reinvented himself, and because he invented his own style, then he would do it. If they feel poor that he's like that, well, good for them. And poor isn't bad, not poor as in monetarily, but maybe they did too, but that doesn't matter. If he wanted to, he would. Now, that's not to say to be a pompous asshole and to be like, my shit doesn't stink, and to be disrespectful to people, but it's like, if I want to drive a McLaren to McDonald's, then I will.
Right.
Because what if I own the car? I worked for it. I'm gonna show it off. And if you're like, oh, that makes me feel bad, I'd be like, it's not to be an asshole.
Right.
I have the car because I got it and I worked hard for it.
Right.
So I'm gonna show it off. I'm gonna drive it. I'm gonna take it to where I want to take it. And I'm not gonna change my character and be like, oh, instead of driving my McLaren, I'm gonna drive my 1997 RAV4 so that you don't feel bad. That's not how we operate.
Right.
And if you do, it might feel good in the short term and you feel altruistic and as if you're doing some good civil justice, but in the long term, you're being incongruent with your core. And everybody knows if you're incongruent with your core, then you're incongruent with essentially who you are. And now you're just asking for war.
Ooh.
Incongruency with your core leads to internal war.
Ooh. Ooh.
And with that, my friends, I think we are done.
We're gonna leave you begging for more.
The AM Club podcast out.